You're listening to the Pace Radio Network, here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own, and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
I want to talk about news, don't want the drama. From no pretentious media Madonna. I found me a great ganja mama. Cannabis and coffee with Tamarijuana.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Cannabis and Coffee with me, Tamarijuana. It's a beautiful day in these kidneys. It's actually not that cold, but we do have all of this lovely stuff on the mountains now. So this actually is my outlook right now, which is, terrific, right? Well, I hope everybody had a good week. I guess didn't make it today again, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is, right? Like we just kind of keep on moving forward and do what we have to do. This week's coming up is also Remembrance Day on Saturday. So I'd like to shout out to all our veterans and let you know that there are benefits and to medical cannabis for a lot of veterans, military, first responders. There are many groups across the country that respond to and help veterans and first responders get their medical licensing and get them lined up to where they have to be. The Canadian government actually does cover some of the veterans' benefits. I believe it's up to 3 grams a day. As a veteran, if you're a medical patient, we'll just check that out, Vets and Cannabis, which is another great resource, especially for PTSD. So we've got Canadian Association of Veterans in Cannabinoid Medicine, which is another page that comes up here. So we'll see if we can bring that up and share that with you. How do I do that again? Share screen. There we go. We're going to share that. And we're going to go over here and we're going to bring it up and I'm going to go to the side. So this is one of the pages that I found, which is the Canadian Association of... Oh, this is veterinary. That's not what we want. We want veterans and cannabis. Yeah. So here we are. Reimbursement policies for cannabis for medical purposes. So we're trying to bring that up right now. This computer, I tell you. Okay, so there we are. Reimbursement policy for cannabis for medical purposes. And what it says here is care has been taken to ensure these policies are accurate, reflective, and acts the agent's regulations should be inconsistencies will be found in acts regulation to reveal. So it gives you all the general information. And it says right here, medical purpose has been mandated by Canada courts. But you know how people don't like mandates. It just depending on what the mandate is, right? Veteran Affairs Canada may reimburse an eligible veteran for the purchase of cannabis for medical purposes when the healthcare practitioners defined in Health Canada's cannabis regulations as medical practitioners, nurse practitioners, authorization as accordance with Health Canada's cannabis regulations. So there's that. Exceptional approval for more than 3 grams. So they can technically be prescribed 3 grams and they will definitely cover it. But there's also an Annex A here. Reimbursement may be authorized for more than 3 grams of dried cannabis or equivalent when confirmation is received from the treating physician. So it's here basically stating that if your physician is on board and you can prove that you need more than 3 grams, you're also covered by Veterans Canada. Dan Trudeau does all these things. And that's what kills me about all these people that hate Trudeau. It's like, I had a conversation with a woman the other day, and it was quite disturbing, to be honest. It was her telling me she couldn't wait for polio to begin because he was going to do so much for the veterans. What? What does she think he's going to do for the veterans? They cut, slashed, and hang on a second, my camera is making me look like I'm a little bit fuzzy. They closed veterans benefits offices. They raised the retirement age to 67. But they're going to do so much for seniors. I don't understand where these people are getting their information from. It's just unbelievable. And they don't want to believe that, Trudeau's doing any good for Canada. None. No. Just inflation and blackface. That's all I hear. It's like, pick a fucking lane, dude. Like, anyway, some of you may know and some of you may not know that I lost my best friend, Kelly, here not too long ago to cancer. She was probably one of my oldest, dearest friends. I've known her most of my life. She was an amazing person. She was so talented and just an amazing person. And I just can't even say enough good about her, to be honest. Like, I just can't. There's just not enough time. There's just not enough time in a day to tell you all the things that my lovely friend was about. So, of course, we'll disregard all this, but this is Kelly. And she, like I said, was my oldest, dearest friend. And I've also, posted pictures about, the rock that she gave me. But she actually carved this out herself. And her friend Deb told me that who's known her whole life too, said it took her hours to do this. But she wanted it to be perfect for me. And then she came in the summertime. Remember I was telling you about my friend that came and all ripped all the bushes and stuff down? This woman was living with terminal cancer. At that time, we didn't really know how bad it was. And that was only in July. When was it? August, July, I think. I can't remember now. And it took her really quickly. And she was using cannabis too. She hadn't been using the oil until it got really bad. But we got her access to that too. It was like so fast. And at the point where I think, why does cancer take people so fast? I'm actually thankful to a point that it did take her so fast because she was suffering. And the pain and the suffering that people go through when they're living with cancer, trying to maintain, their cancer, get into remission, go through chemotherapy, it's not an easy road. Like, chemo is probably one of the most invasive fucking treatments you can have. You're going in once a week and having them stick needles. She had intravenous lines in her neck and in her arms so she could give herself medication when she did go home, which wasn't for very long. She was able to go home for a little bit, and then she ended up back in the hospital. She ended up passing away in High River, Alberta, which wasn't her home. To be fair, it was her home was Coaldale, Alberta. That's where she came from and where she was born and where she lived most of her life, in the southern Alberta area of Lethbridge. But she was staying in Barons. She did one stint at the Tom Baker Center in Calgary, but they pretty much told her there was not much more they could do for her there too. It's just, like I said, it's so amazingly incredible how many footsteps and footprints people make in people's lives, and how quickly they can just be taken away from us. And never mind the fact that, addiction, another thing that's a thing in my life right now because my daughter's here. She's doing really well, to be fair. But still doesn't want to pull her away from some of the past people. And I had to lose my mind this morning because I will not tolerate those people around me, around my kid. No, deal breaker, no. Anyway, yeah, so there's that. I've been trying to get Corey Yelland actually on the show. She's just super busy. and has 1,000 people that want her attention all the time. And yeah, it's hard to get the whole aspect of how cancer and cannabis work hand in hand together. I mean, there are studies and research that's been done on cancer and cannabis, and how they have found that cancer tumors have been in mice have been has is a cannabinoid treatment that has reduced the tumor structures in mice. There are therapeutic potentials for it, and they're doing some clinical research right now, and have been for decades, to be honest. We've maintained that a lot of people will claim that I will never say that it cures cancer. It can be a therapeutic benefit to help towards eating nausea when you're smoking it. But the evidence so far is there isn't enough evidence to prove that cannabinoids, natural or synthetic, can effectively treat cancer. And that's from the research centers themselves. In the UK, McGill too. They're saying that new studies conducted at the RMC suggested complementary therapy for cancer patients. So if it's used safely. So we'll bring this one over and move that one. I want to take this and get rid of it. So I want to go over here. We'll just close that one off, and then we'll go over here. I know it makes it so it's a little bit scary for me, but I get it, man. I managed to figure it out. In fact, Al was going to show me this, and then I figured it out for myself, and I had to show him that. He's like, "Oh, you did it!" I'm like, "Yeah, I just had to mess around with it for a bit." So, here's the medical cannabis value options for cancer and pain relief, and this is from McGill University Health Centers. So this is May 4th to 2023. It's not an old study. So a new study conducted by the RIMUHC suggested that a complementary therapy for cancer patients, medical cannabis, could be used safely and effectively to reduce pain and opioid use. This is in Montreal. Medical cannabis could be safe complementary treatment for pain and cancer patients, according to the new observational study conducted at the Research Institute of the McGill University Health Center. It could also help reduce the total number of medical medications and opioids taken by patients, suggested the study published online by BMJ Supportive and Palliative Care. We've demonstrated that regulated medical cannabis products can be incorporated into care of cancer patients safely and effectively, says Dr. Antonio Vaguero, senior author of the study at the Science in the Cancer Research Program at the RIMUHC and the director of the Cancer Rehabilitation Program and the Medical Cannabis Oncology Program at Cedars Cancer Center. After 3 months, the patients we followed showed clinical and satisfactorily significant reduction in pain scores, which were maintained over 1 year. They were also able to reduce their pain medication over time, which many of us know, living with chronic pain, that if we use cannabis hand in hand with whether pain medications were prescribed, the hiccups, Jesus Christ, it helps reduce the amount of opioids or pain medications that you use. I'm a prime example of that. But I barely use the hydromorphine that I'm prescribed. I might take one when I'm in a flare, which hasn't been very much lately. Like I had no prescriptions for $90 a month, and I don't take them very often. I mean, I use them up over time. Usually it's about 3 to 4 months, but then again, I'm not using them on a continual basis, right? So it says here that the results of the study are based on data from Quebec Cannabis Regulatory, which complies with wide ranges of data from several institutions and clinics across Quebec. And it's funny because Quebec's laws for cannabis recreational use are very strict, and you can't even have a pot leaf on a t-shirt, yet all the research and such is being done in Montreal. Just saying. Collected directly from 3,000 patients who were initiated on a cannabis for medical purposes between May 2015 and October 2018. This QCR was created in 2015 at the University Hospital by Dr. Mark Ware. And we've heard that name before. If you've been in cannabis activism at all for medical patients, Dr. Ware is somebody that you would recognize his name. Since 2019 is led by Dr. Villego. Our recent paper by Dr. Ware and Dr. Villego in QCR has shown that medical cannabis directed by physicians appears to be safe and effective within 3 months of initiation for a variety of medical indications. Pain affects the majority of patients undergoing cancer treatment. According to the authors of the study, 55% of patients undergoing anti-cancer treatment and 66% of patients with advanced mastitis or terminal disease experience pain. A variety of medications, including opioids, are usually prescribed for pain relief. However, 1/3 of patients still experience pain. With the aim of finding out medical cannabis could be used safely and effectively to manage cancer-related pain and reduce pain medications, the research included 358 adults with cancer in their study. The patient's average age was 57. Nearly half, 48%, were men. And most common cancer diagnoses were genitoury, 60 patients, breast, 59 patients, followed by bowel, lung, and blood cancers, 43% patients respectively. The research analyzed pain intensity symptoms, total number of medications taken, and daily morphine use at 3 months intervals. At the time of the first medical cannabis prescription, and then 3, 6, 9, and 12 months later, overall pain severity and pain relief, as well as interference with daily life in the previous 24 hours, were also assessed. Conclusive results. Statistically significant decreases were observed at 3, 6, and 9 months for worse than average pain intensity, overall pain severity, and pain interference. The research identified 15 adverse events that occurred in 11 patients. 13 were non-serious and 2 were serious, but did not appear to be related to medical cannabis. The 2 most common side effects were sleepiness, reported by 3 patients, and fatigue, reported by 2. Only 5 patients stopped taking medical cannabis because of its side effects. The study authors stress that randomized placebo-controlled trials should be conducted to confirm the results of their study, and the research should continue to tailor treatments to each individual. Medical cannabis is a medication that needs some theoretical knowledge and clinical experience in order to achieve the best clinical results. More research is needed to define more effective, standardized ways to personalize medical cannabis treatments, as some patients may respond better, while others may be more prone to side effects, says Dr. Villego, who is also a specialist in palliative care, associate professor at McGill University, and the co-leader of the biometric axis of the McGill Research Center of Cannabis. So we do have doctors in Canada that are definitely trying to find out and research what is actually going on with medical cannabis. So that's some, decent news. And like I said, that was in May of 2023. That's not that long ago because we're into November now. God, it was that long ago. Where does time go? Like, it's ridiculous how quickly time goes. And yeah, I've got a bunch of bitching dogs around me today. It's just ridiculous. Just the day's just kind of like fucking been stupid. I don't even know why, but it's just been stupid. And I need a lot more of this today. Anyways, so again, I want to iterate that we do not claim, like I said, some people might, that cannabis is a cure. Some people find that it has helped them. Some people will claim that it has cured them. A lot of times they will do both, right? You do your chemo treatment and hand in hand, eat some oil and try and stay away from sugar. You have to change your whole diet, though. It's a whole lifestyle change. It's not a matter of just, smoking weed and taking your chemo. A lot of things in your diet and stuff has a lot to do with your cancer treatments as well. And you want to change and cut sugar out immediately. And a lot of people have asked me for my candy when found out that they've got cancer. My first response is no. I'm sorry, you want to eliminate sugar out of your diet completely if you can. I mean, it's hard to do that, but I mean, sugar feeds cancer. And that's one of the first things I heard right from the get-go, is you do not want to be encouraging the use of sugar with anybody who has cancer. So when people ask me for my candies, it's like, no. You need what goes in my candy. I will, definitely help you with that, but no, I can't help you with that. Not for that purpose anyways. So let's go back here and see what else we can find out about some studies and research with cancer and cannabis, because I know that there are many. And so we got the American Cancer Society or Association too. That was like August of 2022. Want something a little more recent. Okay, so here's Canadian Cancer Society. No, I don't want to connect with you. Go away. Oh, and the Cancer Society is basically saying that that cannabis can increase your risk of cancer. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So this is the Canadian Cancer Society's take on it. Is this Canadian Cancer Society? Donate today. To be fair, I've never donated to them because I think they're hacks. But anyway, okay. So this is their stance on cannabis and cancer. Cannabis and cancer, are they connected? It is possible that cannabis can increase cancer risk, and why? Cannabis smoke contains many of the same cancer-causing substances as tobacco smoke, and people who smoke cannabis tend to inhale more smoke per puff and hold it in their lungs for longer than people who smoke tobacco cigarettes. We need more evidence to know for sure if cannabis is a cancer risk. Some studies suggest that using cannabis over a long period of time may increase the risk of cancer, particularly cancer in the lung, head, neck. However, the quality of this research is not as strong as the evidence on tobacco and cancer. Other studies do not show an increased risk of cancer after long-term cannabis smoking. The fact that many people who smoke cannabis also smoke tobacco or mix cannabis with tobacco makes it harder to know whether cannabis causes cancer. And because there is no standard amount of THC, the main active ingredient in cannabis, in every cannabis cigarettes, it's too hard to compare results across the different studies. Our perspective. The limits are to the current evidence, there are limits to the current evidence, but we are concerned that long-term cannabis smoking may raise your risk of cancer. More research should be conducted to better understand the cancer risk associated with long-term smoking of cannabis and to expose the secondhand cannabis smoke. So in other words, they got nothing, and they want to make something out of nothing. Oh, I didn't even share that damn screen. Here I was just reading away. Anyway, here it is in black and white. So in other words, they're fear-mongering. So just another reason why you don't want to support the Canadian Cancer Society. Right here. Anyway, back off. Okay, so let's go and check one more. We got about 4 minutes. See what else we got here. Is cancer safe for patients? There have been many. Okay, so we're gonna. I think. Can you see this one? We're gonna share this. Okay, present. Share screen. Da, 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 up here we go. Share. Don't go anywhere. Now we're back over here. We're gonna add to the screen. All right. So here we are. There have been some early clinical trials of cannabinoid in treating cancer in humans, and more studies are planned. While the studies so far have shown that cannabinoids can be safe for treating cancer, they do not show they help control or cure the disease. Okay, where's that study on the mice? There's got to be something. Alberta Health. Rick Simpson oil. Doesn't work. This is 2022 too. Rick Simpson oil. Okay, can we see this? Yeah, okay, you can. Okay. So here, this is from WebMD. So we don't know if it's, accurate. Rick Simpson oil made from flowers of cannabis plant gets attention online for people who claim it treats cancer. There's no solid evidence for it. But some early research suggests that some chemicals in marijuana have future potential as a cancer treatment. Cannabis oil comes in many types of formulations. These include cannabinoid CBD, cannabidiol CBD oil, which is often part of medical marijuana. Unlike many other cannabis oils, Rick Simpson oil is a high THC, which is the main psychoactive chemical in marijuana. The THC is the chemical marijuana that provides the high. Online reports say Simpson is a Canadian engineer and cannabis activist. After a bad fall, he found that marijuana helped lessen his dizziness and other symptoms. Later, he developed basal cell skin cancer on his arm, and Simpson used cannabis oil as a treatment. As reports go, his skin cancer went away. So there's that one claim there with the RSO, and many of us are familiar with that. And Run from the Cure, which is a documentary that was done on the Rick Simpson's oil. All right, and on that note, my friends, we have blathered on for 1/2 hour. It's amazing how I can do that. I don't know how some days how I can actually do that, but I do. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break and thank our sponsors because that's what pays the bills and keeps us all on the air. And we appreciate them a lot. And if you're interested in advertising on our network, get a hold of Hal. We have a package all set up. We make the commercials for you. You have input if you want to have your own voiceovers. You can do your own voiceovers. We have other professionals that actually do make the commercials too as well. So if you're interested in advertising on CBG TV, on Roku TV, and on the Pace Radio Network, get in touch with Al Graham. All right, and on that note, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back after our break.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420.
Are you looking to get your medical cannabis grow license? Limestone City Hydroponics can help patients through the process of obtaining their license to grow medical cannabis. What's that? You don't have a doctor. If you meet the medical criteria, Limestone City Hydroponics has a nurse practitioner who can assess and provide medical cannabis prescriptions. What are you waiting for? Contact Limestone City Hydroponics at limestonecityhydroponics.ca or call them at 613-548-0420.
What do you find at paceradio.net? People advocating cannabis education.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Cannabis edibles are an effective way to manage pain and other ailments, especially when you deal with your trusted partner, Legacy 420, in Tyendinaga Mohawk territory. You see, we lab test every product on site to ensure proper dosage every time, which is critical when consuming cannabis edibles. All Legacy 420 edibles are made by our classically trained baker and chocolatier, and we also have super tasty vegan options.
Our baker has been in the industry for 25 years. She's also a chocolatier. Everything from savory to sweet, your chocolate bars, brownies, butter tarts, you name it, we make it.
Talk to our knowledgeable Cannatex about our incredible variety available. Give your trusted partners a call. Legacy 420 out on your road.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
I guess that was swift. I walked away, then forgot what I was doing. I was talking to Rihanna. Anyways, that's something that I'm pretty happy about, having her here. And yeah, spending as much time with her as I possibly can, which sometimes is good and sometimes not. You know, being a mom and all, but when you're a mom and she's going to be 31 tomorrow, that tells me how old I am. Oh, I got a dog left outside. Hang on, I will be right back because I can't leave him out there. It's cold. And apparently he's out there, so I'm just going to remove myself. Oh, that didn't work. Doesn't that work? Oh, it did. Still all kinds of music. Oh, God. It's a day. It's my day off. I'm fucking tired. To be fair, I'm indeed tired. Okay, we'll put that on pause. Okay, so back to this. So we were looking at cannabis and cancer. Now, Mayo Clinic, lung cancer. I don't believe that. Marijuana cancer risks, cancer patients. New study shows benefits of cancer unrelated patients. All right, let's see what this is.
This is the story of the award-winning, chef-approved Always Pan that sold out over 30 times. We partnered with the best experts in sustainability.
We'll skip the ads.
Now with Dr. Janet, researchers are saying that medical cannabis can help with cancer pain.
Cancer pain. So remember now, when we talk about medicinal marijuana or medical cannabis, there are a lot of potential applications and a lot of exciting, interesting research. This particular study published in the British Medical Journal looked at patients with cancer pain, about 350 patients in Canada, things like bladder cancer, colorectal cancer, and different ratios of CBD to THC in their cannabis, and really found some very positive and encouraging findings about the relief of their cancer-associated pain. And I think the big picture here is that, you know, however we feel about the topic of cannabis, recreational versus medicinal, it remains and is showing itself to be a very valuable resource in terms of its medical applications, because we know that it is very difficult to treat patients who are living with chronic pain. You know, what are the options? Opioids, which are really completely out of favor now by physicians, and addictive with a major risk of side effects. You know, there are not that many options. So this study really, I'm sure, raising some eyebrows in the world of oncology and pain management.
And you mentioned those ratios. So is that going to help us know what to get if you have a medical marijuana card?
No, that's the thing that we really need good data on, is what is the ideal ratio. And by the way, it might be different for different people, different types of pain. You know, again, in general, the CBD doesn't give a euphoric psychiatric psychological effect as much as THC does, but finding that perfect ratio, if you're going to use it like a pharmaceutical agent, then you need the dosage to be elucidated as well. So we don't know that yet, but really interesting research.
All right, the doctor has spoken.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great.
So there's that. I think that's what we were just talking about, the study in Canada, which I was reading out of Montreal, right? So again, we've got, some, and it's funny because there was a program on CNN last week, or no, I guess it was last month, where Dr. Sinjed went, and it was an Anderson Cooper Sunday night. He has a show on that, it was on. I wonder if I can find that too, because it was on just recently. Dr. Luke de Sanchez, I think his name is, CNN and Cannabis. I mean, these are things that, I know anybody can look up online. Like, anybody can do this. But again, here we are. Medical promise of cannabis as we age. In case you want to skip this ad, we're going to share screen. Here we go. There we go.
Who else would take you?
Sometimes my reporting takes me to places I truly never would have expected. A few months ago, while working on a new documentary, I picked.
This is AG1, foundational nutrition to support whole body, brain, and gut health.
I never thought I would be taken through a dispensary by a 94-year-old who's going to show me around.
Who else would take you?
Sometimes my reporting takes me to places I truly never would have expected. A few months ago, while working on a new documentary, I paid a visit to a medical cannabis dispensary in Palm Beach, Florida, a place packed with seniors. And that's where I met 94-year-old Ken, nearly old enough to be my grandfather. At the dispensary, I kind of eavesdropped in on his conversation with the bud tender.
So just check that. How much THC and how much CBD?
Oh, yeah, we have these. The pomegranate, CBN and THC.
Okay, it's the same strength. That's
yes,
the key.
10 milligrams.
Okay, and how much is it?
These are 30.
30, and the special price?
You get your wisdom
Right.
discount, and you can use points.
Right.
By the way, did you catch that? A wisdom discount. Not senior savings, not retirement age benefit, a wisdom discount, which, by the way, is given to anyone there over the age of 55. I love that. And so did Ken.
The first time you ever walked into a dispensary, what was that like for you?
It seemed most of the dispensaries are the same. You come in,
See, this first of all was this is just the podcast or the audio of it. I'm trying to find the video of it. I'm not being able to find it, but if you can catch that anywhere on CNN, it'll be probably on again. You can probably go to CNN on demand and watch it. But it was pretty good because just like they had the one on about the magic mushrooms too, and psychedelics and depression, and how one of their reporters actually went and started this program that's available for people that want to try microdosing psilocybin. And he went through the whole program, and he actually used the psilocybin. Another great CNN documentary. I'm not really happy with CNN right now because of their slant towards what's going on in the Middle East, but AlJazeera.com. That's a great resource that you can find, and it's just on, you can just Google. Al Jazeera doesn't cost you anything, it's all free, which is great because CNN costs you money, and so does CBC Gem. And they say it's free. It's not. It's $3.99 a month if you want the subscription, so you can see everything live. If you want to watch reruns and fucking videos, sure. But if you want to actually watch something live, you have to pay for it. Yeah. So yeah, there's that. Anyway, let's see. More stuff about cannabis and cancer. So we're going to go back here and excuse me. I want to look up and see if we got some videos. What do we got here? I just showed that one. Okay, so let this load for a second here. I'm going to stop it. And we're going to come in here, and I've got it, and we're going to bring it up to the stage, and we're going to start it. And this is MSNBC with another one of their studies. So let's let this one go.
This is not your normal company team bonding.
This is the best joint I've ever made. Probably not the best one at the table.
But for this public relations firm, this is how they do it.
So just throw the weed in the grinder, close it up, and just grind it up as best you can.
What is the purpose of this, though?
Part of our company culture is that we like to do team building activities, and working in the cannabis industry, what better way than to learn how to roll a joint?
And has everybody done it before here?
Most people.
Who is-
We have
who's
a
not?
couple newbies.
Who's the newbies?
I've not done before.
That is Trisha White, a newly hired junior accounts executive.
So this is my first job.
This
out
is
of
your
college.
first job.
My first real job.
And this is your first time rolling a joint?
It is my first time rolling a joint. A lot of firsts going on.
It's because of this woman, Rosie Matteo. She hired Trisha to join her PR firm. They represent 60 companies that all work in the cannabis industry and hope they can help weed become less taboo at other workplaces too.
I much prefer as a CEO of a company to have my employees go out after work and consume cannabis and do things together as opposed to, going out and having some drinks and coming in hungover the next day. So I think people need to look at this as just a different culture now. Cannabis is part of mainstream culture and we're embracing that as well.
Just how big of a business are we talking about?
This year alone, cannabis industry in the US will do $24 billion according to estimates. 5 years from now, $100 billion. There are no other industries that are growing at this pace.
The receptiveness to marijuana is only increasing. This is the climb in America's support. 30 years ago, 16%. Today, about 2/3 of Americans. And now some major corporations are adjusting with the times. Amazon, the biggest, saying in a statement this summer, "We've changed course. We will no longer include marijuana in our comprehensive drug screening program and will instead treat it the same as alcohol use." In just today, the NBA saying it will not subject players to random drug tests for marijuana this season.
Companies are coming to grips with the fact that society has changed its view of marijuana usage dramatically.
And laws in cities and states are changing too. Here in New York, a company cannot fire you for using marijuana outside of work hours. And if you're applying for a job, that company, they can't turn you down because of a positive test. But most states have yet to grant those protections, and many companies are able to rely on federal drug testing laws for safety-sensitive jobs.
Federal rules require substance testing for certain kinds of jobs, like truck drivers.
Essentially, your message to employers is get used to this.
The tide is changing. People are choosing cannabis, and employers have to embrace that if they want great talent.
Matteo is paving the way for some other employers just to get with it.
Cheers.
All right, Vaughn Hillier joins us now on set. Vaughn, I'm sure that was a fun story to cover. I think it's interesting that all of those people were totally cool and fine with us doing the story and appearing on camera. It shows how far we've come, I think, as a country with marijuana. But I'm curious, do the employers that allow this, do they find that maybe sometimes employees take it too far, they get high at work, come into work high, those kinds of things?
Right. And of course, these protections don't extend to being intoxicated in the workplace, whether it be alcohol or whether it be cannabis. At the same time, there are some certain jobs in which federal regulations will still apply. Truck drivers, subway operators, pilots, there are federal regulations in place. Even if you're in one of these localities or in a state in which there are these employment protections, some of those types of jobs, we call them, right, these safety specific jobs, those individuals still are not, because marijuana is still illegal at a federal level, those do not apply to them.
All right, Vaughn Hillier for us, a very interesting story tonight. Vaughn, we thank you for that.
Now take a look at some foggy weather along the Gulf Coast this morning and some showers from Michigan.
So that's pretty interesting. And that's in the States where they don't have federal legalization. Where in Canada, we have federal legalization. So let's check on that and see about cannabis use on the job. Cannabis, we're going to check this. And drug testing in Canada. Oh. Okay. Pre-employment drug testing allowed in Canada. Employees within Canada must exercise caution when implementing drug testing policies. An employer may appropriately institute drug or alcohol testing for safety-sensitive jobs in 4 circumstances: pre-employment, reasonable cause, post-incident, or random.
Mom, here is a reminder. School meeting.
Oh yes, I have a school meeting.
Mom, here is a reminder.
Alexa, stop at 1 o'clock with Steven's teacher. What does a drug tester do? Oh, do I have this up? No. Let me bring all this up. So I'm not looking into a random. People are just looking at random nothing. Okay. Now, the stage. Okay, here we are. So, here we are. Do Canada employers do background checks, blah, drug testing, legalization, and marijuana? Safety sensitive. So, here we are. Marijuana remains illegal federal, unlike the US for marijuana. Okay, Canada legalized recreational use of marijuana nationwide October 2018. Medical marijuana is also legal there. In the spring of 2019, blah, 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 working placement dairy. General random drug testing is banned in Canada, but there are circumstances under which it is allowed. Safety-related professions or airline pilots, for example. Meanwhile, pre-employment drug testing is allowed in Canada if the job is safety-sensitive, which implies a position which impair could result in a catastrophic incident and impact others. Still, a failed or refused test is not necessarily grounds for a withdrawal job offer. Because of lack of smell associated with edibles, compared with smoking marijuana, they can hardly be monitored in the workplace. The nature of them, cookies, gummies, candies, also makes it more difficult for employers to monitor. Note that edible marijuana takes longer for the effect to kick in, meaning the risk of overuse or sudden impairment is more prevalent. Despite legalization of marijuana, Canada authorities stress workplace safety responsibilities for both employees and employees. Establishing policies and training should be the first step for employers. In the U.S., where marijuana legalization is spread across the country, the laws vary more widely. The presence of weed in a pre-employment drug screening may not be enough to refuse to hire someone in certain jurisdictions. It's also up to an employer to understand that laws where they have workers and remain compliant with local regulations. And if I remember, I believe that most companies now after legalization. Okay. Pre-employment drug testing in Canada. So this is saying it's unconstitutional. So in Canada, drug testing in the workplace is regulated by a combination of federal and provincial laws, labor codes, and human rights legislations. These regulations aim to strike a balance between respective individuals' rights and privacy while also maintaining safety for both employees and the public. Okay. So yeah, you can. And they do. Anyways, on that note, I'm going to end my show a little early today because I've got this school meeting with Taven's new teachers for KDS. So I'm going to have to cut it short again today. Sorry, folks. But I'll be back on tonight with Al on the Pace Radio. show at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time and 6 o'clock my time, Mountain Standard Time. So y'all have a great week. I'll be back next week, and hopefully I can get that guest that I've been poking at for weeks to come on and talk about cannabis and cancer. Y'all have a great week, folks. We'll see you then. Bye. Oh, I guess I gotta get the closing.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own, and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
When you have a pain that's reached its peak, Legacy for 20, it's so unique. If organic cannabis is what you seek, here's your trusted partner 7 days a week. Suppository salves, vapes and drops, topicals, edibles, infused pop. Just when life seems like it ain't easy, at Legacy 420, enjoy a pop freezy. Lab tested products, make them the GOAT. Legacy 420 out on your road. Legacy 420 in Tyndonega Mohawk territory. Indigenous organic cannabis at its finest.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420. We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.